Frontiers of Pandora is the best looking Far Cry game to date, but can it survive Ubisoft's downward spiral? Let's find out. Released in late 2023 by Massive Entertainment, this game somehow slipped completely under my radar. No trailers, no hype, nothing. Which made me think this has to be terrible. Ubisoft's recent reputation did not help with this fact. So after 70 plus hours 100%ing it, what did I actually think of it? It has a stunning looking world, but everything else was just fine and slightly mind numbing. Let's start with the setup. You play as one of the blue people. You and your siblings get taken by the RDA at a young age, then sometime after the first film you manage to escape. You will now have to gain the trust and learn the ways of the local blue people in order to take back control of Pandora. If you think that sounds like the film, well yeah, it kinda is. I feel like the Avatar franchise can ever only be about blue people versus the humans, which is really starting to get stale for me. I suppose I should talk about my relationship with the franchise, just so we have some context. Like everyone else on the planet, I saw the first movie when it came out, and thought wow, it looked gorgeous. But I didn't think a lot of the actual story. The messaging was really heavy-handed as well. I really enjoyed the tie-in game for what I remember though. I never felt the urge to rewatch the movie. Then, like most people, was baffled that they announced a bunch of sequels were in the work. Then I watched the sequel once it came out and had the exact same thoughts as I did about the first one. I also went to the Pandora place in Disney World, which had no blue people, like what the fuck. So yeah, the franchise has always been kind of meh for me. Watch it, forget about it, move on. And this game nails that same feeling, because once I'm done with this video, I'll forget about it too. Let's try to start positive, with the gameplay. The map is split into 3 large regions gated by story progression. You explore, clear RDA sites, hunt and collect mountains of stuff. Basically it's Far Cry. RDA sites work like outposts. Stealthily or go guns blazing, your choice. Once cleared, the area becomes liberated and you can fast travel there. They pollute the land around them, which I like. They remind me of the Saboteur. The land is grey and lifeless until you destroy the base. Then it flourishes again. Cool idea, but wasted. The pollution only affects small patches of land, so the RDA never feel like a massive threat. Like Far Cry, you can be stealthy. You can hide in bushes, create distractions and hit enemies' weak points to take them out quietly. But for me, I didn't really realise this was an option until later on. Well, I guess I should say I never needed to be stealthy, like ever. I would always run in and shoot everybody, no problem. This is because the enemies are so weak and there is no variety to them. First there are the humans on foot. They act like grunts from Halo. They die in one hit and don't do much damage unless they're in a group. Then the other enemies are mechs, and they don't feel as strong as they look. It's like they're made of paper. A couple of shots and they're dead. It doesn't help their weak point is the centre of their body, so you'll end up shooting it anyway. That is it for the human enemy types on foot. Men and mechs, that's all. It's boring. Later on the mechs get upgrades like a shield, a grenade launcher or a flamethrower, but they're still basically the same enemy. It became really boring fighting the same enemies over and over again. They try to shake things up with stationary turrets. They are as fun to fight as they sound. The last RDA enemy are the helicopters. Their weak spots are the 2 giant propellers. They go down in 1 or 2 shots. I literally had to check to see if I wasn't accidentally playing on easy. The combat became so mind-numbing so fast. The lack of weapons does not help the combat. You can carry 7 weapons, 3 of which are different types of bows. Let's go through them. You get an assault rifle and a shotgun. These are great against RDA and are the ones I use for most of my game. The shotgun has a small magazine count with a long reload time, but after I found a magazine extender, I was sorted. The rest are Navi weapons. You get a sling to throw explosive and mines, which I completely forgot about until writing this script because I never felt the need to use them. Next is the spear thrower, which does exactly what you think it does. This does a lot of damage but is slow to use. Then there are the 3 different bow types, long, short and heavy. Long is your typical bow like the ones in Far Cry. I used this one the most. You have to pull back to aim. The longer you hold it, the further it goes. The short bow skips the pullback time but has a lower range. And the heavy bow is slow but does a lot of damage. I never used the heavy and short bows. I just never really felt the need to use them. The long bow was perfectly fine. Another thing I never felt the need to do was change ammo types. Each weapon comes with 2 ammo types, a regular one and one that comes with an effect like fire or poison. I didn't use these. The enemies never warranted changing my ammo type. If there was like an ice mech and fire was good against them, maybe I would have changed my ammo type. Regular ammo worked well enough as it was. If you use the guns on wildlife, it will destroy their pelt. Basically, guns are for humans, Navi weapons for animals and silently hidden enemies. I think the main reason I only stuck to a few weapons is because you can only equip 4 at a time. Like I might have used a sling if I didn't have to go into the menu every time I wanted to equip it. Another factor is the gear system. I did not enjoy this system. Weapons and clothing come in different rarities with different perks, which I like in RPGs but just didn't work here for me. I'd always just go for the highest number because that's what's important. The perks and stat boosts are supposed to make you think about what you equip, but they are not game changing enough to care about it. Like it's always do 2% more damage to the RDA, 3% more damage whilst mounted, plus 15 damage if the enemy is on fire. Just such unnoticeable changes. Give me some cool effects instead of small percentage changes. The only perk I would keep an eye out for is one where the enemy dies you get some health back. This applies to the skill tree as well. It's mostly percentage increases or you can carry one more of a thing. There was nothing on the skill tree that I was excited to get, or one I went out my way to save up for. It's just upgrades you've seen in other Ubisoft games, like you can recover arrows you fired or food buffs last longer. Oh yeah, food buffs. You can collect ingredients in the world in order to make food which can give you temporary buffs, which is a fine system, just one I didn't really engage in. Rare ingredients only grow in certain places, so you have to look in your notebook to find where that is. There is also a system I don't think works or I don't understand. When you collect an ingredient you'll have to pull it off a plant. You have to find the right place with the joystick and press a button. Once you do this it comes up with pristine and a time of day. So this fungus is best picked at night. If you do it at night the ingredients should be of a higher quality. But I didn't see the difference. If I picked it during the day it would still be a good quality, so I don't really know what this system was. There was also crafting which I didn't really bother with. I just used the stuff I found. I've never been a huge fan of crafting these types of games, and this one didn't do anything to change my mind. It just makes you constantly collect shit. I haven't really been that positive so far, have I? Let's see if the Traversal can change that. The game has above average movement. You can hold A to charge a jump, which I found fun to bounce around like Tigger. The world encourages you to move around fast. Some plants will speed you up, some will glow to show you a path. It's fun, not mind-blowing. You don't get a typical mission compass, you have to use your Navi vision to find things and objectives. You hold down a button and look for a blue splodge, which is a bit more engaging than a map marker, but it did leave me pressing that button every few seconds, so I don't think I preferred this. Now I was not enjoying the game until I got my first mount, the Ekran. This is the star of the show. If you go into playlist, power through till you get this mount. Flying this thing is fun and really opens up the world. You can dive down to get a speed boost. The mount is what stops the game from becoming a complete chore, but it's not perfect. You can call him by pressing a button like a horse in Red Dead Redemption, but he's a bit fiddly. Sometimes he'll land right next to you, other times he won't land at all, or he'll land really far away. It can get a bit annoying. You can also call him when you were falling off a big height like in the movie, which is fun. This did lead to me jumping off cliffs that didn't have a big enough drop so he wouldn't come and save me. It's kind of like the wingsuit in Far Cry. I always tried jumping to trigger it, even if it was just off like a shed roof. You can also mount a horse, which is just shit. You unlock this in the second area, but you already have the Ekran, so why would you use the horse? You also have to soothe it every time, you don't get a permanent one. This becomes a bit tedious to do. Luckily you don't really need a horse, it's just something they chucked in there. You can also fire your weapons whilst on the mounts. I don't know why you would do this though. It makes it harder to aim and you're an easier target. I only did mounted combat if I really had to. I've covered the gameplay, so what do you actually do in this world? Other than clearing out outposts, it's typical Ubisoft checklist. You can find plants that give you a skill point or permanently increase your health. Sometimes they have a puzzle tied to them, often they're just sat out in the open. There are moths to follow to gain a fruit. These are basically the flying pages in Assassin's Creed. You just gotta keep up with them. Never been a huge fan of these. There are also research stations where you have to solve a line puzzle to activate them. I forgot to mention line puzzles, they are not good. You have this device that will show you power lines and you have to follow them to reroute the power. They aren't fun. Once you find the thing that needs to be activated, you'll have to hold the right trigger with the right amount of pressure to activate it, which I found tiresome. Then at the main box a little line mini game will pop up where you have to get from the start to the end in so many seconds. Sometimes you'll have to avoid hazard zones or have to get a key to get to the exit. You have to do this minigame a lot, and I mean a lot. It's never hard, it just takes up so much time. Lastly, you can find Navi outposts which will have crafting and cooking stations. They also have a pot where you can donate items. Each outpost will ask for a specific thing they want donated in order to check them off, like a purple grape. They can be fun to track down but get really tedious doing them all. When you donate stuff you get clan favour. This is basically a more complicated currency. The Navi are above money and capitalism, they all work together like a bunch of commies. When you finish the quest or do anything, this spiral bar will fill. When you want to buy something from a vendor, it will cost you so much of the spiral bar. This is really annoying because it has a cap. If you are doing everything, this will fill up fast and the game will keep telling you it's full, which will make you want to buy stuff, but they don't sell anything great. When you get to a new region they sell good stuff, but after a while you will be a way higher level than the stuff they are selling, making this whole system pointless. Just use money, capitalism works. Fortunately, doing all this busy work is helped by the fact the environments and landscapes of this game are beautiful. You can get some stunning pics using photo mode. Plants light up at night helping the world stand out. The game also has a wonderful skybox with lots of different weather effects. In terms of missions, it's typical open world stuff. A lot of go here, fight some guys, come back. You've got your follow the trail missions. A lot of missions will have you connecting clues together, which I really hate in this game. Often you'll get 4 clues, you pick one to connect to another one. If you are wrong, there's only one other clue left. It's just a waste of time. You don't have to pay attention to the clues when there are so few of them to connect. You also don't really learn any valuable information from them. Like you connect arrows with a body and your character is like, someone used a bow. Then you'll move on, just feels like padding. All the missions are stuff you have seen in other games, it's just very safe, stuff you can complete whilst on autopilot. The game also has a new trend in open world games where you spend a whole mission helping 2 people get together. It happened in Spider-Man 2 and it happened here, like why is this a new thing now? Finally, let's talk about the main story. I'm not going to spoil anything major here, mostly because I checked out of it early on. It's just not very good. I could sum up every mission for you. Humans are bad, they don't respect nature. Na'vi are good, we love nature. There you go, just gets repetitive by the end. The main beats are also very predictable. So you get a base at the start of the game, and I called the base is going to get attacked at some point. Someone's going to betray the group, and I called who that was right away. It's the only Na'vi that showed any sympathy to the RDA and still wears his RDA clothes. Like wow, what a shock. You would think being super inspired by Far Cry you would take its best aspect, the focus on the villain. The main villain in this game sucks. You see him at the start of the game and then you don't see him again until near the end of the game. He has no presence in the story. I almost forgot who he was by the time I got to the end. There aren't any standout characters. The character you play as has about as much personality as a wet blanket. The human allies you have are just kind of annoying, overly positive, diverse stereotypes. I'm a positive hacker dude. I'm a super quirky scientist. I just wanted someone to have a bit of grit to them. The only character I did like was a Na'vi who teaches you the ropes. He just seemed like a normal dude who wanted to fight back. But he gets relegated to being a vendor so you don't see him a lot. So yeah, I did not enjoy the story. Honestly, I think the movie tie-in game was better. Audio wise, the game sounded fine. I preferred the more calmer exploration tracks to the tribal ones, but nothing was too memorable. Voice actor was kind of hit or miss. Some people were good, others were noticeably bad. Like you can pick from 3 different voices for your character, but they all sound feminine, even the guy. It's the guy that does the voice to Miles Morales in the PS4 Spider-Man. But I just want someone that sounds a bit more manly. You know what I mean? If the character doesn't sound cool, he's not going to feel cool. The performance was fine for the most part. Load times were short and a few glitches here and there, mostly visual, nothing game breaking, but still enough to mention here. Then there is always the Ubisoft greed. Like most recent Ubisoft games, there's an in-game store where you can buy overpriced items for real world money. Yay. It's as shit here as it is in every Ubisoft game, just straight up greed. Also this game is first person, so what is the actual point of buying outfits for your character? But they're nice enough to give you 300 credits for free, which you can spend on basically nothing, so you'll buy more, it's just scummy. I actually played the DLC as well because I hate myself apparently. It's typical Ubisoft DLC. The first one was a lot of reuse assets in a new area. It's just more of the same, more bases to take out, more collectibles to find. The story is there are more humans being evil and we have to stop them. I don't really have much to say here other than the fact they upped the difficulty here, so I slightly enjoyed the combat more. The second DLC is a lot better. They actually added a lot more new stuff. There is more of a focus on your Ikran. He gets his own skill tree, with some cool new moves like the ability to shoot out flares, to confuse missiles like he's a jet or something. You can also make a mounted crossbow for him, which is cool. Because there's more of a focus on flying, there are new flying enemy types and flying convoys to take down. I enjoyed this DLC way more than the first one. Ultimately, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is fine. I've been pretty harsh in this review, but it is perfectly fine, just incredibly uninspired. It's the type of game to play on autopilot, just wasn't engaged at all. If you really want to scratch that Far Cry itch, give it a go, just wait for a sale. Time to rank it. I'm thinking number 37. I definitely got more enjoyment out of Avatar than Skull and Bones. Avatar had a more interesting world to explore and the flying was fun, so it's above that. But I don't think I could put it above Greedfall. That game had a more engaging main story, decent enough combat, and a unique world. So yeah, it looks great, the flying's fun, everything else is Ubisoft Autopilot. That lands at number 37. Better than Skull and Bones, worse than Greedfall. I can't wait to watch and forget Avatar 3.